blessing. We learned so much from him. Alex, we take this day to remember you, even though you're dead and gone. We say rest in peace. We continue to pray that your sins will be forgiven. To your family, to your daughter, Alexia, that you left behind, we pray that you will continue to be consoled. We love you, but God loves you the best. Rest in peace, my brother. Rest in peace and continue to rest.
So, as part of remembrance to a great legend who served as a mentor here, our former station manager and a very good editor, he was formerly known for his English and French fluency, and to an extent, his favorite Creole could be Koloko Bokto. Alex Terina, we missed you, and to the rest of the family, we extend our deepest condolences, and your legacy will continue to live long. On behalf of the management and staff of the Media One Center, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant him our journey.
2 years feels just like yesterday. The vacuum Alex Terina left is still here. We still miss him. We miss his editing skills, his style of leadership, his wisdom, his intellectual. We always miss him. We'll never forget Alex Terina. All of us here at Media One Center, we all learn from Alex. He gave us, he impacted his knowledge in us, and we're still using it today. For that, we say thank you, and may God bless his soul.
It's only 2 years as we remember Sir Alex Terina. Inside his heart, 2 years has already gone by, but yet still he remembers the as an occasional heart. I can vividly remember during the days of Stamp Picking Talk, the way he used to mentor us, the way he used to teach us and guide us on our English. We shall surely miss him. Continue to rest in perfect peace.
When peace like a river attended our way, when sorrows like sea billows roll, whatever her Lord thou hast taught us to say, it is well, it is well, it is well with our soul. Indeed, for 2 years now, we don't lost somebody who is so good, somebody so caring, somebody so disciplined, somebody so loving, somebody who will work towards professionalism. Today we celebrate in 2 years because we gladly a day with the Lord na heaven. Mr. Alex Terina, we love you, but Jesus loves you best. In the sweet, by and by, we shall meet on that beautiful shore. We love you. Sleep and take your rest.
We try to remember we brother, colleague, friend, and we uncle. We be left we na Alex Terina. Today don't make it 2 years we be die. And na a man we get passion for what he will do, and we inspire other people themselves for that they able for taking footstep. More especially in the area of education and also human interest. And we hope that God will give him good which I did. Let God make it simple for him. And if you don't do anybody bad, then you forgive him and pray that God will make it enter Al-Jannah.
Say God in the key, in the thing. Remember the late man. Very inspiring. Man, very, very creative. You know. Remember the inception of Star Television. It was they say so we make Star TV and within all striking attributes like voice. I like the vex way Alex's voice. You know, the art's always cool. You always bring humor inside. You know, there's the animist, creativity, proficiency in languages. Alex is a passport language, German, French, English, you name it. You know, indeed, it was a big loss to this institution as well. It was a big loss. And the moment we leave, the short time we live together, impact with our lives. We learn so much from him. And much we say, just we say, God will accept him. Jannah, and may his gracious soul rest in solid perpetual peace.
A very old friend of the late one, Alex Terina, spent so much time together. As an individual, there's a lot I learned from him. He showed me that with little time and passion, that you put to action, you can achieve a lot. He actually trained the children and inspired them in the light towards education and their betterment. And for this, I'll always remember Alex Terina.
Well, that's a tribute for our former station manager, Alex Terina. May his soul continue to rest in peace. Now, let me come to my guest in the studio, Sir Samuel Sam Derek Kobina, the retired military officers from the British Army, and retired Colonel Dominic Soa from the Republic of Sierra Leone Armed Forces. They are to talk to me on the projects they hope to implement on the support for military veterans. Welcome again, gentlemen. I'll begin with you, Derek. Setting up a project to support military veterans. Why that initiative, first of all?
Good morning and thank you very much. So, after serving in the British Army for 10 years, I realized that there was a need to support our own veterans because they take a great deal in supporting their veterans back in the UK. So, 4 years ago, I set up an NGO to support Ghanaian veterans, to promote and to support them and their welfare, being called Forces Help Ghana. And through that, we're able to lobby and advocate and be able to help raise some funds for veterans, not just in Ghana, but across the world, through an organization in the UK called the Royal Commonwealth Ex-Service League. So last year, November, the UK government approved £11.8 million for 30 countries to be supported across the world, which in West Africa, Gambia is one of the countries. And basically the beneficiaries will be people who fought under the British command, or people who fought for the crown before independence. For example, for the Gambia, they are to receive a certain amount of money, which will be disclosed to the veterans in the next couple of weeks, for the next 5 years. So I have now been appointed as the project officer for West Africa, covering the Gambia. I just left there yesterday, Sierra Leone, Ghana, Nigeria and Cameroon. And this is a 5-year project which the UK government wants to distribute £11.8 million across these countries. So,
but I want to understand, so the beneficiaries for this project will be military officers who serve the British Army only?
Yes, who served under the British command.
Under the British command.
So you remember that before Sierra Leone got independence, there was a switch. There was a switch. The British government would have handed over the baton to the Sierra Leone government when you gained independence. All the soldiers before that time will be eligible for that because they are still classed as, in a way, still served under the British command. They serve the crown and they don't have any pension, I would say. So this is just a way to say thank you for their contributions to the war. I think some of them even fought in the Second World War, but these are pre-independence veterans who the UK government want to take care of at the moment. Yes.
Okay, let me bring in Sir, you're a Sierra Leonean as well. What does this mean for our country?
Well, it means a lot. It means a lot for myself to be part of this project, and I think it's a very, very good opportunity for me. Because my dad is a retired officer, even though he's not well within that bracket. Well, at least it's a way of me serving my country. I left here, I went back to the UK, served the British Army, and then came back to give a support to Derek on this project. I think for myself to be part of it, it's really, really, really good. You know, and I'm looking forward to support it all the way for these guys to receive the benefit that they needed.
Okay, I'll ask the same question to retired Colonel Dominic.
Yes, the Sierra Leone Ex-Servicemen's Association had been a conduit between the Royal Commonwealth Ex-Services League and the war veterans, mostly from the Second World War, and we've been receiving a minimal medical support on a yearly basis to support those people.
So does this mean anything for you?
It does. It's a welcome development. If the British government can now think actually that they should be of good, of better service to these people after long years, and I think it's good development, and I appreciate their thinking in that line.
Okay. Now, Derek, this initiative is good, but in anything, there are fraudulent people out there. So are there measures put in place to know the right people who deserve the benefits?
Yes. So in each country, we work with the Veterans Association. So here we are working with SLESA, which is Sierra Leone Ex-Services Association. So they would have already been sending funds to, as Ken so rightly made it, in the past couple of years. So they already have some kind of record already of the eligible veterans. So we've already been paying, but now this is an increase to those funds. So the call now is to find out if there's any need for much more people to come forward, because we believe that there were some that haven't been captured in the past, some of these pre-independence veterans. So the idea of today is to make sure that we capture those ones which haven't been captured in the past with the help of Colonel Soa and the team. Okay,
so is there any requirements needed to show that I am a veteran?
Yes, your military number, you should have like a discharge book, because the army would have given you a discharge book, some medals to prove. But we also have a list from the UK, because the UK government gave those pre-independent veterans those army numbers. So there are ways and means which I'll be able to verify, and there's a form to fill if we find out that somebody qualifies. It's called a Form A, which is pretty much a 2-3 page form with basic requirements. But also, if the veteran, the pre-independent veteran has passed away and the widow is alive, then the funds will go to the widow. So it doesn't just end with the veteran, because I know that most of them would have probably passed away. This year marks 80 years of the beginning of the Second World War, which is 1939 to 1945, so exactly 80 years. So we are looking at most of these Second World War pre-independent veterans being in their 70s or 80s, or probably 90s or more.
So what's in the package for the beneficiaries?
No, I mean, okay, the idea is that they'll probably get within 800 to 1,000 pounds, but it's a case-by-case basis. I mean, we need to find out what is wrong with the veteran. So other veterans who are blind might get more, veterans who are deaf might get more. So there's actually 3 tiers. I'll say the tier 1 will be the strong and able veterans. Tier 2 will be the mobility impaired, blind, disabled veterans. And the tier 3 will be the bedridden ones. So we'll assess each veteran with the help of SLESA, case-by-case basis. So it's good. For the next 3 weeks, we are going to be very, very busy trying to assess and finding out what exactly is wrong with the veterans, how we can support them.
Sir, is the Sierra Leone government aware of all this?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, they're aware, because all the corresponding letter are actually follow through the Deputy Defence Minister, and then been in touch with Colonel Soa. So whatever correspondence I've got from Derek to myself or directly to Minister, I'll be there to facilitate or to make sure that the Deputy Defence Minister receive this information. So I'm just there to follow through, and obviously pass on the information to Derek that, listen, have followed through. They've received such and such email, or they've received such and such information. So I'm just there to create that link in terms of the information flow. So because we need to we need to make sure that we push this thing as quick as possible, because I think already Derek just told us that Ghana have started receiving their funds, and we want Sierra Leone to receive these funds as quick as possible. So I'm there to make sure that whatever information go through, I'm there to facilitate and to push through that they've received the information and they can act upon it as quick as possible.
Yeah, I'm very concerned about the funds, because when it comes to money...
Okay, so I'll help you with that. Okay. So because I am the project officer for West Africa, it's my duty to make sure that these funds, there's transparency in there. So I usually work in Ghana. What we've done is we're working with the British High Commission. Here we are hoping to do the same. I'm meeting the High Commissioner and the defense team tomorrow on a meeting. And what we do is we create a payment committee. And that payment committee would involve myself or somebody like Sir, who I can trust. We involve somebody from the defense section, from the British High Commission, and somebody from the SLESA committee as well. So they form the payment committee so that we bring about transparency in terms of signing of checks, disbursement of funds. They will have an overview so the payment committee is responsible for each country to make sure that the funds get to the right people, because these are I'll say UK taxpayers' money, and at the end of the day, myself and the team,
to ask where
of course,
the funding is coming from.
so it's coming from the UK, and we will be audited for that as well. So we need to obviously pay particular attention. That's why the payment committee is crucial. So I'm going to be here this week to make sure that we formalize that and make sure who is involved in the payment committee, where that is going. And usually in most countries, we open a separate bank account from the normal bank account so that it doesn't mix up with the ones or the other funds that the veterans have.
Okay.
So
someone out there might be thinking, what's the goal in all of this?
It's to say thank you, because these men fought, under the British command. They fought for the British Army. Some of them fought in the Second World War, and it's long overdue. It's just about time that we recognize their contributions to the world and their contribution to peace, because they are not getting any kind of support, special support from their respective governments. So I think there's a need for the UK to come back to us and say, listen, we are looking at helping and supporting our veterans.
Okay. Yeah. Let me bring in the retired colonel. The Sierra Leone Ex-Service Men's Association is there. How challenged is it for the Ex-Service Association?
It's an enormous challenge, because we've been trying to identify the veterans. We've been on it for quite a time, and we know some of them, a good number, especially when it comes to those pre-independent soldiers. The Second World War veterans are not much in sight, but we know where some of them are even up country. But we have difficulties in actually penetrating to the peripheral areas to see where and who stays where and in what condition. I think with this kind of development now, with funds or support available, we'll be able to reach those peripheral areas and see who stays where, in what condition.
Okay. So the ones that are dead already, is it that you're going to contact their families?
Yeah, that's the plan. So once we've got the list and we know who's passed away, and we're trying to identify the immediate spouse. The immediate spouse would be benefit from that money. I think these veterans, we're going to be working really hard for them, because it's because of them that's why we're here today. It's because of them that's why the door is open for us to join the British Army as a Commonwealth. They did that ultimate sacrifice for us to be where we are today. So, and I believe we're going to be working hard for them to receive that benefit, either passed away or the spouse. We're going to be working really hard, because it's for us to show our appreciation for where we are today. And I believe we're going to be working hard.
Okay. Yeah. So, Jarek, these funds, is it going to cover all veterans, dead or alive?
Yes, as I said pretty much. So this is the criteria will be pre-independence veterans or their widows. And I repeat, because there's always a confusion when I go to various countries. So that when I just got returned back from Gambia, and I had the same challenge as well on identifying, and I made it clear that it's for pre-independence veterans or their widows if they are dead. And if the widow is not alive, then it's quite unfortunate that we cannot give it to the immediate family or the kids. It's only for the pre-independent veteran or the surviving spouse.
Okay. Retired Colonel, we've seen most servicemen, they're mostly challenged, ex-servicemen, they're mostly challenged in the country. How can you describe the conditions of the ex-servicemen of the RSLF?
Well, their condition is not very comfortable by average, because in fact on the Good Morning show this morning, or the morning coffee on the SLBC, there was one ex-couple that was agitating for their benefit as wounded in action. And my fear, and which is also my challenge here, is for us to create the publicity for ex-servicemen to know how they know that who is actually entitled to these funds from the UK. Because some people, when you say pre-independent soldiers, they want to say everybody is involved. So if the British is taking care of the veterans, and we should also be thinking that when these people, our own veterans, out of our 11-year war, when they know that the British is taking care of their own, they will want to start agitating, asking government for their own support also. So it will be the responsibility of the media or the press for them to understand that this package is actually for those who served the British Crown in the Second World War and up to before 1961. That is the understanding that we should actually be able to send to them, that as to who is entitled and who is not.
Derek, one might want to know what triggered all of these for the British government to consider the veterans, the pre-independence veterans.
I mean, so the organization that I work for, which the Queen is the patron, and Prince Andrew, who is the Duke of York, is my direct boss. It's called the Royal Commonwealth Ex-Service League. It's been in existence for the past 98 years. So they've already been supporting Commonwealth countries throughout the world, which are about 40 or 53 Commonwealth countries already throughout the world for the past 98 years. So for, I'll talk about Sierra Leone. For Sierra Leone, we've been supporting them for the past 20 to 30 years, sending funds based on 1 meal a day, which wasn't that much. So last year in November, the organization made a case to say, why don't we then increase the funds from 1 meal a day to 2 meals a day? So basically, these funds are based on probably getting 2,400 calories a day, which is about 2 meals a day. So they actually worked through the British High Commission, the different organizations in Sierra Leone, and came up with a figure to say how much would it cost for each veteran to survive on 2 meals a day for a whole year. And they came up with a figure. So each country was based on roughly around that figure. And the UK government decided that it's long overdue and it will be good for them. So they made a decision in London together with the Royal Commonwealth Ex-Service League and the Duke of York, and they came up with the package for the veterans.
Okay, so these veterans, what needs to be done? How can they contact the right people to receive the benefits?
I believe that if they are eligible, they should contact SLESA through Ken also and the team.
We have 14 branches across the country, and we are going to let them know that some time ago we started registering them. We are registering every ex-serviceman by region, but to my regret, there were areas where they actually objected to the registration of veterans. They say, you are old people, you are not. But now we have to make that understanding go to them that those are the people we actually want, other than they want to reject them. And as you may know, he said the Queen sits at the head of the Royal Commonwealth Services League. For us, the President is our distinguished Grand Chief Patron, and the Vice President is the senior honorary member of the Royal Ex-Servicemen's Association. So we walk on the same line of the same trend of the British, because we belong to the British, no matter what, as our colonial masters.
So there's going to be proper verification?
I hope so. I promise so.
Okay. All right, continue to stay with me, gentlemen. Let's go in for another news item. Now, the mayor of the Freetown municipality, Yvonne Akisoya, during the 14th National Cleaning Exercise, has commended citizens of Freetown for their collaborative support in ensuring the cleaning exercise becomes a success. Let's have more in this report.
Speaking to a host section of the press, the mayor of the Freetown municipality, Yvonne Akisoya, stated that people should not be waiting on the national cleaning exercise at the end of every month to take care of the environment, but ensure that it becomes a daily exercise by way of getting rid of the filth.
You know, when President Bio announced National Cleaning Day, he said National Cleaning Day. But over the months, it became National Garbage Collection Day because people stopped cleaning and just kept hoarding their garbage and leaving it outside. But we're really interested in changing the behaviors of residents of Freetown. So this is an important part of our toolkit, National Cleaning Day. It gives a platform where we can really encourage citizens, residents to actually get involved in communal cleaning. And that is directly linked to the Cleaner Zone competition. Because what it means is that if you want to win the Cleaner Zone competition, you actually have a free pass once a month for everybody in your community, everybody in your zone, to just clean your zone. Just kept hoarding their garbage and leaving it outside. But we're really interested in changing the behaviors of residents of Freetown. So this is an important part of our toolkit, National Cleaning Day. It gives a platform where we can really encourage citizens, residents to actually get involved in communal cleaning. And that is directly linked to the Cleaner Zone competition. Because what it means is that if you want to win the Cleaner Zone competition, you actually have a free pass once a month for everybody in your community, everybody in your zone, to just clean your zone. And that will really help you with the public areas, which is one of the criteria for winning the Cleaner Zone competition.
She commended the efforts of members of the Republic of Sierra Leone Armed Forces towards the national cleaning, adding that they had demonstrated commitment in addressing some of the challenges, working in partnership with the metropolitan officers during the cleaning exercise.
Because Pretonians from east to west of the city are always saying that it's dirty, they don't want people in dirty city. So that is coming from the Pretonians. They are the ones, we all are the ones who are dirty in the city. Because the dirt does not come from the sky. It comes from individuals. So once we've decided that we want a clean city, then I am confident, and I believe we have made that decision. I'm confident that we're going to meet the target.
Albert John Simbo, a metropolitan officer, noted some of the challenges they face with getting people to abide to the laws that govern the exercise.
That is why Mount operating. Now we have about 15 men who are around to see that people go out to clean, and then we have Saloon police officers who are with us, we have the Masada guys, and then we have youth around. I've sent them in several areas so that they can go and watch people to do their cleaning. Because we don't want us to go there tomorrow on Tuesday to say, oh, yesterday, this day we have back here from Sunday or Monday, we just want to see how people can bring out their garbage so that they can bring it to the dump site.
Councillor Lucky M. Mansare of Ward 406, winner of the just concluded Cleaner Zone competition, applauded the initiative and stated that ever since the cleaning exercise became obligatory, they have noticed a decrease in the health hazard condition they've been recording as a community.
It has created some impacts in our community because, well, in the first place, there is cleaning competition that has gone some weeks ago. Then we thought it that because of our proactiveness in our community, the collective responsibility between the youth, the women, and stakeholders of the community, trust me, that one has created an impact that Councillor Lokin M. Mansari, the Ward Committee members, stakeholders, the member of parliament, and other personalities, all of us have come together to make sure that we clean our community. So by so doing, because of what we have been doing in our communities on top of the situation is very clean, more than other community, and we are still continue to clean. We don't want to say because we won the Cleaner Zone competition, so we are going to leave it like that. So we are still looking forward to make sure that we still continue to clean and we will be on top of the situation as we have been on top of the situation.
For Star News in Freetown, compiled by Moses Oju Kamara, read in our studios by Hassan Koroma.
Thank you so much, Hassan. It's 9:38 from our studio clock. I'll come back to my guest in the studio. Derek, is there any age limit for the veterans?
No, there's no age limit. As long as they served under the British Crown, they qualify. Anybody who served under there isn't any age limit for veterans here.
So how will the payments be made to them?
We'll transfer the funds from the UK to an account made available by SLESA. So they'll give us all the details because in country, they are actually the member organization for the Royal Common Service League. So all these countries, we have an organization that represents the country. And in Sierra Leone, it's SLESA that we are working with. So the payments will be made to them, and then the payment committee will then decide. That's why one of the things that we'll be doing will be probably to have a new bank account which will be separate from their normal everyday duties, which could have a proper oversight and everything.
Okay. How secured is the account?
I think it's probably going to be secured. Well, I'll be working with SLESA just to make sure that that account is really secured. From what Derek said earlier on, they're trying to have like a payments committee, which will be comprised of different bodies. So I think being watched by the member from the High Commission, you'll be really be careful of what you're doing with that account, because everything needs to be reported back to the UK. So I'm sure that account's probably going to be one of the secure accounts.
Indeed, it should be.
Yeah.
And I must say that the consequences of a country not distributing the funds, the various veteran is a ban. So if we stop sending the country funds, if we find out that there's any foul play or anything like that, we then ban the country.
So is the Ex-Servicemen Association prepared to get the right people and make sure they get what they deserve?
Indeed we are.
Because you had Dominic, there will be a consequence.
Yes, and we are aware of the consequences, so we'll be very cautious the way we go about it, because if we make any blunders, our country will lose. So it's not nice to fumble with those forms at all.
Are you also a veteran, pre-independence veteran?
In my own right, well, not I'm a veteran of 11 years civil war in this country, but I'm not a veteran of the Second World War. Otherwise, I won't be standing on my 2 legs climbing the steps.
So, do you recall your first day in service? How does it feel like?
I do. It was, well, I came in as a boy, so I didn't feel anything. It was just like being with my parents. It was a hard thing actually, but I saw it from a child point of view. But it was difficult, especially for the first 3 months.
I'm tempted to ask the same questions to you. All are ex-military men. Share your experience with us.
Yeah, for me, joining the British Army was, I wouldn't say it wasn't difficult. It was difficult. Well, my difficulties was the weather condition, because I grew up in a military environment. Just like I said, my dad was a military, and he served basically. Colonel Suwan, my dad, they're I would say, what would I say? Platoon mates, or probably.
Actually, I was ahead of him, but we joined now. We worked in the military hospital,
yeah,
and we grew for
so
some long time in the military hospital.
Yeah, so I was within the military environment. So moving back to the UK, and I look at the opportunity to join the army. But most of these things I've seen or I've done it before, either through the Boy Scouts, or probably looking at my dad, looking at other people. And because there was a point when my dad used to work at the Bengima Training Center, so I used to pay a regular visit there. And to be honest, the doctrine from the British Army and the RSLAF, there's no difference, because obviously the standing order procedures are only from the UK. So I think the only thing, my challenge there was the weather condition, and it was really cold. So you're going out in an environment for the very first time, you've not seen snow for the very first time, and you're there under the snow for like 4 or 5 days. So it was rough. It was absolutely rough.
So what motivates you to join the army?
Well, I think if I was here, I would have probably joined. Yeah, definitely if I was here, because it's something that is within me, you know. So it's just rather unfortunate because of the war, moving over to the UK to study, and the opportunity arises to join. I decided to just, you know what, let me just join. And then hopefully, and coming back to Sierra Leone on this project, because actually I'm running the military shop. The first military shop is opened by myself for all military personnel to purchase uniforms up at Wilberforce. Okay. So I look at the opportunity for me to serve my country in a different, not like putting on the uniform, but in a different way to serve, you know, my country. So that's why I'm working closely with the Ministry of Defense and the entire RSLAF.
Let me ask Derek the same question.
I mean, it's pretty much the same. I mean, and I share the same experiences with Sam. Every Commonwealth soldier who served in the British Army would be not so impressed with the code. That's the first thing you go through in training. I mean, but one thing that also affected, I mean, in terms of when we went to Afghanistan and coming back from Afghanistan for the first time, I mean, you are there for 6 months. And I said this on the show last time, that you carry your weapon all the time, you know, for 6 months. A lot of sudden they take away your weapon, you know, so you come back for the first time and you start getting reflex and all that, and nightmares of you thinking you are back in Afghanistan and all that. But and sometimes not everybody could come out of that. That's why then that leads to the post-traumatic stress, PTSD and all that. So that's one of the things, the challenges that I think ex-service personnel do face. But I was lucky enough not to have that. I went past that. So I'll say that's one of the most probably difficult times in Afghanistan twice, and coming back wasn't easy for me. Yeah.
So leaving the military can be a big transition. How is it going, separating your military life to your normal life now?
It's very, very difficult, but in the British Army you do a whole year's resettlement. So I'm not sure about the Sierra Leone Armed Forces here, but on the day that you press on the computer or you decide to leave the armed forces, your transition starts from there. So they take you through a process, you get to go on job interviews, job placement, so by the time that you probably, at the end of your 12 months, when you are ready to go, they would have prepared you mentally, emotionally before you leave, and probably end up securing yourself a job at the end of the day.
Okay. Yeah. Retired Colonel, what's his life like leaving the army?
Just like as difficult as he's explaining, but for us here it could be more difficult because resettlement facilities is still in the infancy. It's now we are thinking about establishing an office for resettlement, where we actually have to train people to join the civil street again. It is rather unfortunate that when we say you are retiring on the 31st of December, we give you a year notification, you are on your own to do your exit plan. So, but now with the new direction, things.
Yeah, because we saw the president
yes.
during the last Army Day or so, he made so many promises
yes.
on measures that it will support ex-military.
We are fortunate that the president is also in the same shoe that we wear. He's an ex-serviceman. He experienced the same thing. He served in the 11-year war, and he is open to our suggestions and even with regards to what happens to people when they go on retirement. And we are working on a bill that actually would, if passed through Parliament, will be on a good footing.
What's that bill about?
Pardon?
What's that bill about?
We want to establish the military veterans wing at the Ministry of Defense that will be exclusively responsible for taking care of ex-servicemen.
Okay. So, sir, how does your military experience affect your life today?
To be honest, it's an institution whereby it's difficult to come out of because they've prepared you in a way whereby you look at life in a different perspective. As they say, well, there's a term which they say, if they ask you to jump, you don't ask how high, you just jump. So you follow that chain of command, that instruction that they give you. Say jump, you don't ask how high. But taking that into civil street, I would say civil street is a bit, walking. It's really difficult. But I'm sure you cope with that as time goes on. Just like Derek said, they prepared you for like a year. It's a year preparation. The moment you click on that button, say, you know what, I think I'll be coming out of the army next year, the 10th of April. That time, the clock starts ticking. You're going for an interview. They'll do everything for you, and then the transition. Like for us now, for me. When I left, I went straight to university. So I went to university, you meet these young kids like 18, 19, they put you in a group whereby, obviously the lecturer, they will see the difference, they will know this is the matured student. So it's really difficult for you to start getting them, especially when you have like a group presentation. They're like, hey, Sam, don't bring that army thing here. So you tend to forget, they keep constantly remind you that, you know what, this is not the army, you're back in the civilized world. So sometimes, you start getting that at the back of your mind. So, you know what, I'm in a civilized world. That's how we call the civil streets, the civilized world.
I'll ask you the same question.
For me, I decided to move back home to Ghana to help and support veterans. So after I left the army, the transition was I told them that I want to go back home to Ghana, where I originally from. I had already done my degree. I went to school in the UK prior to joining the army. I did my work-based degree, so there was a need for me to go back home and support. So I got appointed by a British company as one of their logistics directors. They had a big contract in Ghana. So by doing that as well, I was supporting the veterans with my charity alongside. So I've been doing that for the past, I would say, 6 years, even before I left the British Army. But my charity is about 6 years with my years. So 6 years before I left. And that was the reasons why I went back to the UK together with the Royal Command ex-service and said we should be able to do more for the veterans because what they were sending wasn't enough. So I raised that for Ghana, and we now have it for the rest of the Commonwealth, which is a great.
So the veterans in Ghana compared to those we have here in Sierra Leone, how can you compare those two?
I think through my organization, I would say we are a bit far ahead compared to, I think the Ghanaian veterans have it more than all the other West African countries, I could say, because I've been to almost all the West African countries. I can compare. I organize quarterly breakfast meetings for the veterans. We have an award. Last year, I took a 94-year-old Second War veteran to the UK to receive a Lifetime Achievement Award. We organize charity runs. Actually, on Father's Day, on the 16th of June, with the President and the Defense Minister, we're organizing a walk called Walk for a Veteran or Run for a Veteran to raise money for the veterans. So already in Ghana, we are already doing that. We are not waiting for the funds to come from the UK. The initiative is there to do something for them, because I've sold the story through my charity, the importance of it. Where we've been going to schools to educate them about the poppy and the need for the veterans. So I would say we are way ahead, and I'm looking at working with Sam and Slessor to get Sierra Leone up to speed with that as well.
Is there any lessons learned from Ghana?
Yeah, there is, yes. I've gotten an in-depth conversation with Derek. So basically, our next plan is to basically, I'll say, photocopy all what has been going on in Ghana to implement it in Sierra Leone. So hopefully, after the Ramadan, I'll be paying a visit to Ghana to just to understand and get some ideas on how this thing can be done. Because as you said, you got a charity called Forces Help Ghana. So we're probably looking to implement the same thing in Sierra Leone and to incorporate that with the veterans. And because we need these veterans to be recognized in the whole country. Because if they recognize, I think some of these issues that they're having probably will be less. The more we will sell the story to the nation that we need to look after our veterans. We need to at least a bit of a help, because these guys, they fought for us in the 11 Years' War. They did that ultimate sacrifice. I think that's one of the reasons why the veterans in the UK, there's a well-established structure for them. But I think we'll get there. We'll get there. Once Derek is pushing forward, and I'll make sure that I'll give my support, and I'll make sure that whatever thing is happening in Ghana, probably going to do the same thing in Sierra Leone. So it's going to be we're going to create that link between the Sierra Leone Veterans Association and the Ghanaian Veterans Association with his charity, and I'm looking to do the same thing called Forces Help Sierra Leone for the veterans. So which is going to be separate from Slessor. So whatever thing we'll do, but we incorporate it with Slessor to say, you know what, Forces Help Sierra Leone, we want to do this. We want to come up with a charity. We want to do like a charity walk or a football competition between such and such and such. But that money will go directly to Slessor to support the veterans. Okay. That's the plan.
Colonel, being an ex-serviceman, do you feel neglected at any point?
I don't at all. Even if I were to think so, I wouldn't be right in any sense, because I was brought up in the military. I did 2 trainings, if you don't care. I was trained as a recruit here in Sierra Leone, and eventually I went to train back in Tanzania as officer cadet. So, and I've traveled a lot, and I think I owe a lot to the army and eventually to Sierra Leone. So it's not a bad experience on the whole anyway.
Well, let's take a final news item for today and we round up. Now, the Global Hand Hygiene, in partnership with the Ministry of Health and Sanitation, WHO and Center for Disease Prevention and Control, on Sunday, 5th May, commemorates Global Hand Hygiene Day with the theme, Clean Care for All It Is in Our Hands, at the Konoto Spitzwood in Freetown. Admire Samai takes up the story.
The head of Infection Prevention and Control, World Health Organization Sierra Leone, Anna Maruta, while giving a statement, said every year on the 5th of May since 2009, the World Health Organization Save Lives and Clean Your Hands campaign has launched a call to action to implement and sustain hand hygiene improvements worldwide to reduce microbial transmission of healthcare-associated infections. She further called on all to join hands and advocate for basic and essential resources to adequately perform hand hygiene in institutions and communities.
Clean care for all is in my hands. Clean care for all is in my hands. World Hand Hygiene, May 5, 2019, marks the 11th year of the WHO Save Lives campaign. WHO calls on everyone to be inspired by the global movement to achieve universal health coverage under the banner of Health for All
in achieving better health and well-being for all people at all ages. Infection prevention and control, including hand hygiene, is critical to achieving health for all, as it is practical and evidence-based approach with demonstrated impact on quality of care across patient safety across all levels of health system.
The Deputy Chief Nursing and Midwifery Officer, Matron Amber Cocker, said nurses are in the majority and it is with their hands they do things wherever they are, and their hands are of great importance to them. She advised all to take good care of their hands, and which can easily transfer disease, adding that regular hand washing will cut down the rate of transmission of disease by half.
Majority. And we have sang just now that our hands, they are little, but they are very, very important. It is with our hands we do things at home. It is with our hands we do things in the hospital, in the marketplace, wherever we are. And so it is very imperative for us to take care of them. And in taking care of them, we are breaking chains of transmission of diseases.
Giving the keynote address, the Director of Health Security and Emergency, Dr. Mohamed Alex Bandi, said the health security emergency is a new sector in the Ministry of Health and Sanitation, and in the Directorate of any emergency and security, they have about 7 programs on infection prevention and control, which come across all of them. He explains more.
The point of entry, talking about IPC, to prevent infection from outside. So all these programs within the Directorate, anchored within the Directorate, have something to do with IPC. IPC cut across all of them. If you look at the AWP, our annual plan, most of the activities cut across with IPC. So IPC is very, very important. And the point I want to make here is, as I started saying, the enablers that we usually cry for. Oh, we don't have water. Oh, we don't have hand rub, alcohol-based hand rub, alcohol-based hand rub. Oh, we don't have soap to wash our hands. And we don't have PPE. We don't have gloves to carry out our procedures. But you go to some facilities, all these things we are mentioning are there, but they are still not using it. So the emphasis here I want to make is we need to prioritize audit.
For Star TV News in Freetown, I am Adma Samai reporting.
All right, so we're rounding up the program now. Quickly, Derek, this whole project, are you working with the Ministry of Defense also?
I mean, through SLESA, yes.
Okay.
We are working through them. That's what I'm trying to say. In each country, we have an organization that represents who we deal directly with. In Sierra Leone is the SLESA, that's who we are dealing with. And obviously, they are in full support. They've got the minister's blessing as well. So this week, we have a meeting with the minister, the Deputy Defense Minister, to brief him about the outcomes or the future plans or how we propose to take this forward. Yes.
So as we round up now, what message you really want to leave?
I'd like to send the word out there to all pre-independence veterans or anybody that knows of a pre-independence veteran before 1961 that the UK government has got some funds available for them. They should contact SLESA. I think they will share your details because they have district regions, and then they could then send in the details and fill a form, and if they qualify, then we'll probably give them the funds.
Okay, thank you so very much. Sir?
I know it's a month of Ramadan. I would say Assalamu alaikum to all my friends and family out there who's observing this month of Ramadan. May Allah put blessing upon us. Definitely we'll work together with Derek and SLESA and the Ministry of Defense for us to support our veterans.
Okay, thank you so very much. It's at Cornell.
Well, my closing is I want to appeal to all those units up country and for those who might come in contact with Second World War veterans or pre-independent veterans, for them to come out to register. They know the channel already. We have 14 districts in this country, and we will be glad if they present themselves for those registrations once we come around.
Thank you so very much, gentlemen. There have been Sir Samuel, Sir Derek Corbina, the retired military officers from the British Army, and retired Colonel Dominic Soa from the Republic of Sierra Leone Armed Forces. They've been telling us about a project they hope to implement for the support for military veterans. Well, that's how we're going to end the show for today. Thank you so very much for watching. I'll leave you with a wise word which says, keep your face to the sunshine and you can never see the shadow. It comes from Helen Keller. I am Leonora Jawara. Have yourself a wonderful day. You are with Star Television on Channel 21, and this is the National News Bulletin. Hello and welcome. I am Leonora Jawara. First, let's have a look at the top stories. The World Peace and Diplomacy Organization has awarded the First Lady, Madam Fatima Bio, as Peace Ambassador for a remarkable vision for global peace at the office of the First Lady in Freetown.
I'm very humbled. You know, to know that people out there are actually recognizing the kind of work we do. What I do selflessly, and I really don't do for the publicity.
The mayor of the Freetown municipality, Yvonne Akisoya, during the 14th National Cleaning Exercise, has commended citizens of Freetown for their collaborative support in ensuring the cleaning exercise becomes a success.
You know, when President Bio announced National Cleaning Day, he said National Cleaning Day. But over the months, it became National Garbage Collection Day because people stopped cleaning and just kept hoarding their garbage and leaving it outside.
A capacity building engagement with women has ended at the National Youth Commission with the theme Women Empowering Women.
We decided to come up with our first annual Women's Empowerment Brunch, because behind the high heels, behind all this makeup, there is a story, and that story is where I started, what prompted me to become who I am today.
Global Hand Hygiene, in partnership with the Ministry of Health and Sanitation, WHO, and Center for Disease Prevention and Control, has commemorated the Global Hand Hygiene Day with a theme, Clean Care for All It Is in Our Hands, at the Connaught Hospital in Freetown.
WHO calls on everyone to be inspired by the global movement to achieve universal health coverage under the banner of Health for All, in achieving better health and well-being for all people at all ages.
And in sports, the Sierra Leone Cycling Association has concluded their annual cycling championship with Tennessee and Isata Monde crowned champions, sponsored by the Sierra Leone Brewery Limited.
Actually, we have been working with the Cycling Association for the last, I think, a decade or so. But because they stopped doing the race, we had been sponsoring them with our brand Maltina.
Well, this making the headlines. And now let's have details of the news. The World Peace and Diplomacy Organization has on Friday, 3rd May 2019, awarded the First Lady of the Republic of Sierra Leone, Madam Fatima Bio, as Peace Ambassador for a remarkable vision for global peace at the office of the First Lady in Freetown. George Elliott Tam takes up the story.
The World Peace and Diplomacy Organization, that is registered in the state of Delaware, USA, is a private non-stock corporation that is aiming at resolving conflicts and prevailing peace amongst and within nations, has on Friday, the 3rd of May 2019, awarded the First Lady of the Republic of Sierra Leone, Her Excellency Madam Fatima Bio, as Peace Ambassador for her remarkable approach and also for her vision for global peace at the office of the First Lady in Freetown. While speaking to pressmen, Dr. Jidsin, founder and chairman of the organization, said the organization came to existence in 2011 from Chief Confederation of India Healthcare Foundation when they need to find and bring together like-minded peace advocate was strongly left. Although an initiative for peace was a new motion, formation of WPDO became utmost important in the growing affairs of a new reset which has been recently settled down world over. And the organization is strongly supporting United Nations Global Concept Program and Arts Chapter principle, as well as strongly follows United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2030. And beside, the organization is identifying and recognizing peace advocates and peace activists. That's why they have nominated and identified the First Lady, Madam Fatima Bio, as one of the candidates to have this year's prestigious award.
That we will be honoring Her Excellency, the First Lady of Senegal, with the highest title of World Peace Ambassador. It is always a matter of proud wherever I go and I see such kind of people, those who are selflessly working for the society at large. And I find Her Excellency as one of the ladies who has not just made the country proud, but the whole of Africa proud with the kind of work which she has been doing. So I once again congratulate you, and it's our humble honor to actually bestow this title on you. You are making us more proud, and I believe with this, the sense of responsibility on your shoulders is now going to increase. So I believe that in times to come, we want to see that you call us more often, engage us also in the activity which you have been doing. And I wish you all the best in the future endeavor for the philanthropic work which you are doing for the society at large, and it feels very proud. Thank you so much.
While addressing the media practitioners, the First Lady, Madam Fatima Bio, thanked the organization for recognizing her as a peace ambassador in the world among many of the people in the world. She went further to state that she will continue her good work towards peace building and also embark on the development and progress of women and girls in the country.
I'm very humbled, to know that people out there are actually recognizing the kind of work we do. What I do selflessly, and I really don't do for the publicity, even though unfortunately when you find yourself in a position like this, it's always publicity around you. But I'm very much grateful. World Peace Ambassador, that's huge. I'm blushing, and I'm going to go to His Excellency and just say, you know what, I am an ambassador of peace now. So no more fighting. Thank you very much. I will continue to try my level best to be more than what I have become, and to not disappoint the world. Absolutely. And work for humanity. Continue to work for humanity, and continue to work for this nation.
For Star News in Freetown, I am George Elliott Sam reporting.
Now, the mayor of the Freetown municipality, Yvonne Akisoya, during the 14th National Cleaning Exercise, has commended citizens of Freetown for their collaborative support in ensuring the cleaning exercise becomes a success. Hassan Kuruma has more and in our reports.
Speaking to a cross-section of the press, the mayor of the Freetown municipality, Yvonne Akisoya, stated that people should not be waiting on the national cleaning exercise at the end of every month to take care of the environment, but ensure that it becomes a daily exercise by way of getting rid of the filth.
You know, when President Bio announced National Cleaning Day, he said National Cleaning Day. But over the months, it became National Garbage Collection Day because people stopped cleaning and just kept hoarding their garbage and leaving it outside. But we're really interested in changing the behaviors of residents of Freetown. So this is an important part of our toolkit, National Cleaning Day. It gives a platform where we can really encourage citizens, residents to actually get involved in communal cleaning. And that is directly linked to the Cleaner Zone competition. Because what it means is that if you want to win the Cleaner Zone competition, you actually have a free pass once a month for everybody in your community, everybody in your zone, to just clean your zone. Just kept hoarding their garbage and leaving it outside. But we're really interested in changing the behaviors of residents of Freetown. So this is an important part of our toolkit, National Cleaning Day. It gives a platform where we can really encourage citizens, residents to actually get involved in communal cleaning. And that is directly linked to the Cleaner Zone competition. Because what it means is that if you want to win the Cleaner Zone competition, you actually have a free pass once a month for everybody in your community, everybody in your zone, to just clean your zone. And that will really help you with the public areas, which is one of the criteria for winning the Cleaner Zone competition.
She commended the efforts of members of the Republic of Sierra Leone Armed Forces towards the national cleaning, adding that they had demonstrated commitment in addressing some of the challenges, working in partnership with the metropolitan officers during the cleaning exercise.
Because Freetonians from east to west of the city are always saying that it's dirty, they don't want people at dirty city. So that is coming from the Freetonians. They are the ones, we all are the ones who are dirty in the city. Because the dirt does not come from the sky. It comes from individuals. So once we decided that we want a clean city, then I am confident, and I believe we have made that decision. I'm confident that we're going to meet the target.
Albert John Simbo, a metropolitan officer, noted some of the challenges they face with getting people to abide to the laws that govern the exercise.
That is why Mount operating. Now we have about 15 men who are around to see that people go out to clean. And then we have Sierra Leone police officers who are with us. We have the Masada guys, and then we have youth around. I've sent them in several areas so that they can go and watch people to do their cleaning. Because we don't want us to go there tomorrow on Tuesday to say, oh, yesterday, this day we have back here from Sunday or Monday. We just want to see how people can bring out their garbage so that they can bring it to the dump site.
Councillor Lucky M. Mansare of Ward 406, winner of the just concluded Cleaner Zone competition, applauded the initiative and stated that ever since the cleaning exercise became obligatory, they have noticed a decrease in the health hazard condition they've been recording as a community.
It has created some impacts in our community because, well, in the first place, there is cleaning competition that has gone some weeks ago. Then we totally see that because of our proactiveness in our community, the collective responsibility between the youth, the women, and stakeholders of the community. So by so doing, because of what we have been doing in our community is on top of situation is very clean, more than other community, and we are still continue to clean. We don't want to say because we won the Cleaner Zone competition, so we are going to leave it like that. So we are still looking forward to make sure that we still continue to clean and we'll be on top of the situation as we have been on top of the situation.
For Star News in Freetown, compiled by Moses Ojukamara, read in our studios by Hassan Koroma.
Well, you're still watching the news bulletin here on Star TV. Now, the first Women's Empowerment Brunch with the theme Women Empowering Women has wrapped up a capacity building engagement with women at the National Youth Commission. Admaya Samai spoke to Samuela James, founder and executive director of the organization, in this interview.
Membership Closet is a clothing line that celebrates women, curves, beauty, confidence. I do design for mainly plus-size women. You know, and of course, as you can see, I'm a plus-size woman. And it's always been a challenge in the fashion industry when it comes to women like us with our sizes. So I wanted to create something that is stylish without somebody telling us that we have to wear black to look slimmer, because I love to wear vibrant colors. So I decided to come up with a line which is contemporary, Ankara, English, European influence that will be very elegant, chic for ladies all over the world. We decided to come up with our first annual Women's Empowerment Brunch because behind the high heels, behind all this makeup, there is a story, and that story is where I started, what prompted me to become who I am today. the passion that I had when I was 8 years old to become a fashion designer. And I had a lot of struggle. My story is very intriguing. And as a single mother living in the United Kingdom, a divorced single mother, I wanted to create something that my children I will leave a legacy for my children and they will be proud of. And so I had to work very hard. I had so many setbacks, I had so many challenges, like fear, negativity, you will never do it, you're just wasting your time. But the resilience in me could not give up. And so every time I fall, I get back up. And this is the reason why we decided to have this brunch, an intimate brunch, something small, not too big, to start, to encourage other women who are thinking of starting their own business, their own brand, to say, no matter what the challenges you face, focus on your goals, look at the vision. You will get. I want to see women becoming CEOs of their own businesses. I want to see women doing amazing things. I want to see women, successful women giving back. Because for me, success is not a success unless you start giving back. And for me, this point is like giving back. It's like telling people my story. You think that, oh, she's from the UK, everything is fine, it's easier. But you face more challenges in the UK because sometimes you don't have anybody to help you. So you have to really think hard. You have to use your brain how to get ahead of things. And so I want to see this brunch change lives. I want to see women winning, whether it's in the office, whether it's their own business, knowing about branding, how to start up their business, just for you to believe in yourself and not just sit down and wait for somebody to give it to you. Create your own opportunity.
The Global Hand Hygiene, in partnership with the Ministry of Health and Sanitation, WHO and Center for Disease Prevention and Control, on Sunday, 5th May, commemorates Global Hand Hygiene Day with a theme, Clean Care for All It Is in Our Hands, at the Connaught Hospital in Freetown. Admire Samaya again reports.
The head of Infection Prevention and Control, World Health Organization Sierra Leone, Anna Maruta, while giving a statement, said every year on the 5th of May since 2009, the World Health Organization Save Lives and Clean Your Hands campaign has launched a call to action to implement and sustain hand hygiene improvements worldwide to reduce microbial transmission of healthcare-associated infections. She further called on all to join hands and advocate for basic and essential resources to adequately perform hand hygiene in institutions and communities.
Clean care for all is in my hands. Clean care for all is in my hands. World Hand Hygiene, May 5, 2019, marks the 11th year of the WHO Save Lives campaign. WHO calls on everyone to be inspired by the global movement to achieve universal health coverage under the banner of Health for All in achieving better health and well-being for all people at all ages. Infection prevention and control, including hand hygiene, is critical to achieving health for all, as it is practical and evidence-based approach with demonstrated impact on quality of care across patient safety, across all levels of health system.
The Deputy Chief Nursing and Midwifery Officer, Matron Amber Cocker, said nurses are in the majority and it is with their hands they do things wherever they are, and their hands are of great importance to them. She advised all to take good care of their hands, and which can easily transfer disease, adding that regular hand washing will cut down the rate of transmission of disease by half.
Majority. And we have sang just now that our hands, they are little, but they are very, very important. It is with our hands we do things at home. It is with our hands we do things in the hospital, in the marketplace, wherever we are. And so it is very imperative for us to take care of them. And in taking care of them, we are breaking chains of transmission of diseases.
Giving the keynote address, the Director of Health Security and Emergency, Dr. Mohamed Alex Vande, said the health security emergency is a new sector in the Ministry of Health and Sanitation, and in the Directorate of any emergency and security, they have about 7 programs on infection prevention and control, which come across all of them. For Star TV News in Freetown, I am Adma Samai reporting.
Well, to round up a news bulletin, let's see what's happening in the sporting world as the Sierra Leone Cycling Association has concluded their annual cycling championship, with Tennyson and Aissata Monde crowned champions, sponsored by the Sierra Leone Brewery Limited. Hilton John, our sports correspondent, has more for you.
Good day everyone, welcome for today's sporting news. We start with local scene. The Sierra Leone Cycling Association has concluded their annual cycling competition, with over 60 cyclists across the country participating in the one-day event, sponsored by the Sierra Leone Brewery. According to the head of the marketing department in the Sierra Leone Brewery Limited, Ms. Aminata Keru, they decided to give support to the Sierra Leone Cycling Association so that they will help in nation building as part of the CSR. Let's have a look on the highlights of the competition.
We started discussions with the Cycling Association in December. Actually, we have been working with the Cycling Association for the last, I think, a decade or so. But because they stopped doing the race, we had been sponsoring them with our brand Maltina. But with the emergence of the new brand Trink, we deemed it fit to use this dark energy malt drink, which is a new brand introduced in Sierra Leone in August 2018. We deemed it fit to use Trink to revitalize the race. So we are not, this is not the first sport that Sierra Leone Brewery Limited has sponsored. We have been sponsoring sports, various sports, including football.
But where I feel very good for becoming winner. And I also have to say I'm not going to bring without my teammates and life of the current champion, and I'm going to say, and my teammates of Flame Cycling.
What inspired you for being part of cycling?
Well, I was inspired like since a day, try for 6 months. Somebody always go bike at school, so like they get the racing bike. So like I be very inspired. I be touched. So myself, I was saying, yeah, I can do this thing. So I buy bike and join.
So you're happy on the scene. What you say to yourself before getting the championship?
Well, it's not really easy for being a champion. It's not really easy. You know, get lots of pain, but the pain are just temporary. But if you quit, that's a go long way.
So your first championship you win?
Yeah, this is my very first win, and I know before go on without me.
Coming to cycling from the school, somewhere I did in school, where I did the competition from there. Somebody see me where I feel say I will able to cycling and do make kind of cycling.
So how you feel being to this championship for female?
Well, I feel very happy and proud.
You would expect say to win?
Yeah, because 2014. Now maybe win and for Salon Safe for now, I mean the champion, so I be hope say now me get to win.
You don't get 2.5 from Salon Brewery. How you feel?
I feel very happy because now me first big money than the way I don't win.
What you go do with the money?
Well, I go support me home.
With that note, I want to thank all of the people who participate in organizing this wonderful event. With all the challenges there, it's still, for me, it's still a wonderful event. Seeing beautiful riders, particularly very youthful riders. I love the youth because all the energy that they give out to the sport. I want to recognize the people who initiate this event, who ride to the breweries, for making it happen. I tell them all thank you. That's that. Thank you very much. Without much ado, I want to follow cycling this year to move on the original note I have mentioned. That's the note of peace, the note of love, and the note of friendship. That's what we know is in the spirit of cycling. And I will use all the strength
all the energy, all the knowledge in the sport, to make sure say we begin to come back into the sport. Cycling is for peace, say peace. Peace. Cycling is for friendship, say friendship. Friendship. Cycling is a united family, unity. Unity.
Ending the interview is the winners of this year's competition, Tennyson and Eye Center, from the point of the Sierra Leone Cycling Association. Congratulations to the executive and also the management of Sierra Leone giving support to the Cycling Association. In the ongoing Sierra Leone Premier League, Olodwadian secured one victory against Port Authority at the Circus TV Stadium. It was a team encounter for either side. Edward Michael scored the only goal in the game that separated either side. The league will continue on Tuesday, where you'll be seeing the Cyprus Central Park who play against Bo Rangers. According to the general manager of Central Park Football Club, Noel Otin, is calling on the supporters to give support to the club on Tuesday, playing against Bo Rangers. Babadi Kamara, who is the chairman of Bo Rangers Football Club, said despite they have a slow start in the league, but he's still optimistic that they'll beat Central Park. So on Tuesday at the Circus TV Stadium, watch the best of football in the ongoing Sierra Leone Premier League. The Active of West Africa Football College has concluded their Inter-All Athletics Sports Meet at the Circus TV Stadium, with Barbarian All-Crown champions with 380 points. Let's have a look on the sports meet.
Since 2014, no sports, and sports is back in FBC. How do you feel?
I feel so good because since sports has come back, I'm able to exhibit my talent.
So excited, very happy because I work for it throughout this month. I've been training for this 100 meter.
You expecting to get a champion?
Yes, of course.
Since 2014, no sports for FBC, now sports is back. How do you feel as a student?
Very happy because this is my talent. I love this game. I'm very happy about that.
You won the 200 meter. You happen to win the 100 meter.
Yeah.
What's the secret behind this?
Just training. You just have to train. Put your effort in it. Whatever thing that you want to do, just be focused and have the passion for the game.
Such a wonderful event, especially when we've gone almost 4 years without any sports meet, especially from the Flagler College. This is a very new beginning, and I want to thank the Vice Chancellor and the University Administration for giving me this opportunity to serve as your grand chief patron for today. I want to pledge my continuous commitment to not just sport, but to the entire young people of Sierra Leone. In those few words, I want to use this opportunity to congratulate the winner for today. Whether it's Admiral David Saliku or Solomon Koka, I want to congratulate.
And by the point of the results given to me, I declare my brother as the winner.
Congratulations. What does the win mean for your house?
Well, it means a lot. For the past 12 months, we've been preparing for this, and it shows that we really prepared. We want to thank God for this victory. I want to dedicate this trophy to all whoever is in and out of Sierra Leone. Of course, special thanks to our whole mistress and our whole masters, Mr. Bangura, Dr. Kele, Madam James. We want to thank them all for their dedication, for their commitment. This is the result.
Congratulations to the Barbarian All, and better luck next time to the other two halls who failed to win the championship in this year's athletics sport meet from the point of FBC. Finally, for today's sporting news, Manchester United have missed out the space for the Champions League top 4 after they secured one goal in the Premier League. Here's the highlights.
Андро Бакуна зробив гольову передачу. Момент у Манчестер Юнайтед і забиває Мактоміно. І 8-ма хвилина зустрічі. МЮ виходить уперед. Не зорієнтувався Льосель, можливо, там був рикошет.
Congratulations to Chelsea Football Club. They succeeded in the answer Watford, registering 3-0 victory. That was the win much important for Chelsea Football Club in the league after we saw Higuain accounted for one of the goals for the side.
Hazard flies in across. Straight at the start of the second half after a miserable first half, take the lead. To check on Loftus-Cheek this time. They'll be so disappointed to have conceded at 2 set pieces. It's a great ball. Higuain. Fantastic goal from Gonzalo Higuain. Of his goal and down the side of Craig Cathcart. It's a lovely run. It's all about the timing of the run and the pass, of course.
If you are supporting Chelsea Football Club, you must be in a happy mood. The team will qualify for next season Champions League, despite they have semi-finals against the Frankfurt side on Thursday in the European competition. That's all for Sports Park to Elena Jawa in the studio. And congratulations to Elena Jawa because you are supporting Chelsea Football Club. And coming up on Tuesday, the Champions League, Barcelona, Liverpool, Mohamed Salah will miss out for the side for Liverpool and also Firmino. What a big setback for Liverpool Football Club.
Well, that's all we have for you in a national news bulletin file here on Star TV channel 21. Thank you all for watching. I am Leonora Jawara. Do stay with us if you can.
The Rogers Wright and Iskandri families, at home and abroad, report the death of their dear mother, auntie, cousin, and grandmother, Mrs. Seratu Kobola Rachel Rogers Wright, who died on the 4th of May 2019 in London. Funeral arrangement will be announced later. She was 89. Sympathizers may call on the following numbers: Yomi 0044 7535 441 594, Audrey 0044 7908 648018, Celia 0044 7729 932 405, Noella 001 770 896 8991, Abdullah 077 333 301. To God be the glory for a life well spent. The death is reported of Dr. Marcella Ekwa, Gwendolyn Davis, who died on Monday 6th May 2019, formerly of 93A Main Road, Congo Town. She was 92. Funeral arrangement will be announced later. Sympathizers may call at number 93A Main Road, Congo Town. Death is announced of Mr. George Leslie Nicholas Hughes of 45 4th Street off Circular Road, who died on Monday 22nd April 2019. He was 59. He was once a worker of Motor Transport Garage, Freetown, International Airport Lunge, defunct, and also defunct National Motors, Kleintown. He survived by his wife Rebecca Hughes and children Austin of Adelaide Street, Sarah Georgiana of 4th Street, and Sir Walt. Brothers Mr. Hector Hughes of 4th Street, and sisters Miss Gloria of Adelaide Street and Omodonkan Hughes of Hanaben Kakoka Street. Mother-in-law Mrs. Dolly Achacampbell of Ranger Street. Brothers-in-law Mr. Obofemi Williams of Lady Knoll Street, Kisii, Mr. Richard and Mr. Herbert Achacampbell. Sisters-in-law Mrs. Sestina Thorpe, Mrs. Victoria Lavalley, Mrs. Wilhelmina Tucker, and Mrs. Elizabeth Hughes. 2 grandchildren. Cousins include Mrs. Olive Johnson, Olufemi, Amelia, Rita, and Bensford Hughes. The Davidson of Stewart Street, Trinity Davis of Billet Street, Jarrett of Ferguson Street, Ben Timothy, Moigua, Hastings Spain, Smith, Walker, and League families. Other relatives include Mrs. Tyro Moray and family of Ogufam, Miss Cynthia and the League family of Adelaide Street, Achacampbell, Williams, and Hughes families. Close friends include Mr. Cecil Luke, Sheikh Akanu, Francis Peters of YWCA Nursery, SLBC 98.1, Sky 106.6, Generator and Pump Mechanics, Destined Worldwide, Solomon Ibrahim Koroma, an inmate of 45 4th Street and 54 Adelaide Street. The body will be laid out at number 45 4th Street from 10 a.m. to 12 noon and at 54 Adelaide Street from 12:15 p.m. to 2:15 p.m. Funeral and communion service will take place on Friday 10th May 2019 at the Warren Memorial Methodist Church, Crewtown Road, at 2:30 p.m. and interment will be at the King Tom Cemetery. In loving memory of our late mother, grandmother, sister, aunt, and friend, the late Mrs. Admire Siaganda Ni Pakiwa, whose death took place on the 7th of May 2015. formerly of the Ministries of Education, Trade and Finance. She survived by the Kandas, Pakiwa, Munu, Mansa Musa, Soye, Dauda, Bangura, Wuri, and Sise at home and abroad. Only the heart that loves know the sorrow of parting. May her soul continue to rest in perfect peace.
Star TV, tell him mama, tell him papa, Star TV, tell him sister, go tell him brother, Star TV, don't forget your granny and your grandpa, Star TV, yeah mama, 24/7, Star TV, for your games and sport, yeah, advertisement, yeah, information, education, entertainment, stay glued to Star TV, #1 TV.